Today's readings are they're pretty clear, right? They're very simple. Be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. Pretty good. Not only does it tell us what we're supposed to do, but it tells us how to get there, right? It's about loving just everybody, not just the people we hang with, not just our buddies, not just our friends, but everybody, including the people who hurt us, including the people who persecute us. It's pretty simple, right? But it's not just the love that we talk about when, we feel good and we have those long, warm, fuzzy feelings. Not that kind of love. It's the self-emptying love of loving the other just because they are, without any kind of sense of getting anything in return, without even expecting any kind of reward, not even a smile, not even a thank you, just because they're also a temple of God. And when you think about it, why would we think that the people who hurt us, the enemies, if you will, why would we think that they're not also temples of God? Kind of strange, right? So here's the thing. We're called to love everybody. The little brain freeze. So it gets real simple when you think about that, right? It gets real simple when we can let go of any need for any kind of rewards. It can get very simple. One of the things we can easily talk ourselves into is that we love God with all our heart and all our soul and all our strength, while at the same time we're holding grudges and we're harboring hurts because somebody didn't do something the way we liked it. It's kind of silly, right? Why would we think that? Why would we think that's okay? But we're called to get past that. We're called to love our enemies. I got some stories here I just want to go over just to help you see just what we're called to do. Louis Zamperini was captured by the Japanese during World War II. And he was imprisoned in Japanese prison camps, and he had one guy who was terribly bad to him, tortured him in inhumane ways. And this is a true story, and it's written about in a book called Unbroken, and there's also a movie about it. Treated in the most inhumane ways possible. And let me ask you a question. Where do you think His holiness, that God shone most brightly, His love shone most brightly? When Louis was being tortured while he was in those prison camps? When he converted to Christianity, or after he was released and recovered from alcoholism? Or when he sought out his torturers after the war so that he could forgive them face to face in person? Where do you think God's love shone most brightly? It's coming face to face with the people who hurt him. Immaculata Ilibagiza spent 91 days in a 3-foot by 4-foot small room with 7 other women. They could barely move, 91 days. And this occurred, I think it was in 94, during the Rwanda genocide. She could hear her would-be executioners searching the house and standing outside talking to each other and talking about how much they look forward to murdering Immaculata. Well, she survived. And again, ask you, where did God shine most brightly? When she was praying for 91 days? Or when she got free and processed the hate she had for all those people because they killed all of her family except for a brother who was out of the country and so many friends? Or when she sought them out to forgive them face to face? Which one aligned most closely with the love God calls for us to love each other? Face to face forgiveness, right? And have one more example. And the reason I'm giving you these examples is to show it's possible. You don't have to be, quote, a saint. So last question. So a mother of a murdered teenager decides she wants to forgive her son's murderer. And where do you think her love aligned most closely with the love we're called to give? When she decided at church or at home, I need to forgive, I will forgive, or when she went through all the trouble to come face to face with her son's murderer so that she could tell him that he was forgiven. Pretty easy, coming face to face. There's no way any of these three people could have done that on their own. And I don't know about the Japanese torturers or the Rwanda executioners, but I did hear the impact that had on that murderer. His life changed like that in prison. His life turned around. He was the one that then started doing all kinds of things instead of being holed up and locked up inside. He's even teaching an online class at a college outside of the prison. He helps prisoners, the men in white. He helps them in different tasks like preparing for their parole hearings. I just wonder what it would be like if we could all do that. Like I said, it's so easy for us to talk ourselves into, oh, we're good, right? I don't have any hurts, I don't have any grudges. But I'm going to challenge that. Because our hurts and our grudges that we hold, we get very comfortable with them, like the skin we have, like our clothes on our back. We get very, very comfortable with it. And so we no longer notice them. And if we no longer notice them, then how are we going to love the way Jesus said? The self-emptying love Jesus shows to us. How are we going to do that? I'm not trying to lay any guilt, but what I am trying to do is say, you know what, we got 6 weeks of Lent coming up, and maybe this is a time to really step back and say, what grudges am I holding? And then how can I forgive? If not in person, maybe tell Jesus about it. It's a good Lenten mission.